Welcome back. We are going through a very interesting journey in terms of our understanding of brand and branding. Last session, I was talking about brand positioning, segmentation aspects, target, target market, points of parity, points of difference, and tried to put up a perspective in front of you how these are useful for a brand manager. How a brand manager can effectively position a brand in the minds of a customer, in the mind of a customer. Now, I will be taking you towards an interesting concept, mantra, brand mantra. Brand mantra is brand's core promise to its customers. Now, you see, it is reflected in the taglines, but not known to the customer that this is the mantra. Now, you see, organizations, they actually conceive a mantra, and then we'll see how. For example, Nike's brand mantra is authentic athletic performance. Disney's brand mantra is fun family entertainment. Their perspective is, you see, that is what they think about themselves, and that is what we are talking of. The kind of image their customer carries about them. Same, fun, family and entertainment. The kind of image they wanted to create in the minds of their customers. Fun, family and entertainment. And that is how Disney is known. Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, remember? So, Disney's brand mantra is fun, family and entertainment. BMW's brand mantra is superior driving experience. We all know about their technology, their excellence, but superior driving experience. The brand mantra is not directly communicated to the brand's target customers. Instead, as I said, is typically captured in brand motto, tagline probably, which is communicated to customers. For example, Nike, just do it. McDonald's, I am loving it. Disney's brand mantra is reflected in brand motto where dreams come true. So, that is the aspect of where dreams come true, whatever dreams you have, fun, family and entertainment. Harley Davidson has identified 5 key concepts to convey its brand mantra: personal freedom, fire, muscle, icon, bond and rebel. It's very interesting, you see, and that is what they have been doing. Harley Davidson, we all know, is a very renowned name actually, and they have a huge list of loyal customers, people who love that bike. Fire symbolizes passion, inspiration, energy. Muscle stands for strength and power. Icon highlights the symbolic nature of Harley Davidson brand, representing personal freedom. Just go on the road, accelerate and go. That is what they and I do not advise this to be done until unless you are an expert rider basically. Bond represents the relationship between customers and the brand as well as among customers themselves. These 4 concepts are anchored by an overarching concept, rebel. This could have been something different, but this works for them. Action, verb, not a noun. That rebel that permeates the concept's individual meanings and is intricately linked to the brand mantra, personal freedom and motto, American by birth, rebel by choice. Now because they are a global organization, so wherever they go, they try to use the name of the location, the country, the geography where they are serving the customers. But they're having the same orientation. Mountain Dew, डर के आगे जीत है. That is the perspective which they bring on board. So, that is where this mantra comes into being. And Just to remind you, this is the importance of integrated marketing communication or marketing communication as far as developing a brand goes. Because how else would you develop the image? And I have talked about this earlier as well. But remember this, what is the first touch point we have in terms of a product or a service? It's their message, their communication, it's their motto, it's their tagline, it's their symbol, it's their name, it's half apple. And that is what we are discussing here. How to design a brand mantra? Brand mantra must economically communicate what the brand is and what it is not. It should elaborate almost everything. See, you are actually trying to bring a concise aspect of whatever you have done in due course of time. You are even trying to project how seriously you are developing the products. You are trying to put up the strength you have gained in terms of your human resource, your technological advancement and so on. Google, for example. You see, we all admire, we rely on as far as their credibility goes. We understand what they are trying to do. Patanjali is one of my favorites, for example. So, see, brand mantra is made up of three components: brand functions, descriptive modifier and emotional modifier. So, brand functions term describes the nature of the product or service or the type of experience or benefits the brand provides. The experience or benefits. Now, here earlier we talked about benefits in a categorical with a categorical perspective of as far as attributes providing benefits, and we talked about benefits at length. Here we are trying to merge both the things, experience or benefits, coming closer together. Descriptive modifier describes whom the brand is basically for, target. Emotional modifier describes how exactly does the brand provide benefits and in what ways. Toothache and toothpaste. A child in the storyboard with her mother, and it says it all. That is where emotional modifier comes in. There are several examples, beautiful examples in terms of brand mantra, because we are using a few examples commonly to demonstrate few elements. So, I would be using two of those once again, like Nike and McDonald's, and then there is Hershey's, for example, sweet, delicious, descriptive modifier is family, and the brand function is food and desserts. And Hershey's, they are famous for their chocolates and so on. You see, sometimes descriptive modifiers and emotional modifiers, we try to put them in words, specific words, may not resonate with the customer to the extent the customer thinks of that particular kind of a service or product actually. So these are just categorizations, these are just expressions to support your thinking. For example, McDonald's, you may think in terms of emotional modifier, fun also, or let us say, kind of if an elderly couple goes, so you can think of that emotional modifier to be when they want to be reminded of one of their trips abroad when they consumed McDonald's products and they were not in India at that time, and today when they go to McDonald's restaurant, so there they remember those days. So that can be fun as well as memories basically. So there emotional modifiers and on the other side descriptive modifiers can be definitely be with the perspective of different kinds of customers and so on. Now I would be taking you towards brand resonance model. You see, having gone through customer based brand equity model, the elements of positioning and mantra. Now let us see how resonance comes into play, how it is developed. Brand resonance model describes how to create intense, active, loyal relationships with customers. Intense, active, loyal. That is deeper, wherein competition cannot come in. Loyal, wherein customer comes by herself to purchase the products, and active means repeated purchase, they keep on going on if the product calls for repeat purchase or referrals are generated. So, that is how these things, and that is where the power of branding is actually. That is where one has to think in terms of developing that kind of a power and equity, and when we talk of equity, definitely in terms of stockholders value as well. The model considers how brand positioning affects what consumers think, feel and do, and the degree to which they resonate or connect with a brand. That means how loyalty with intensity and active purchases can be achieved. Moreover, how brand resonance and these loyalty relationships in turn create brand equity and or value. Now, brand resonance model looks at building a brand as a sequence of steps which represent a set of fundamental questions that customers invariably ask about brands, at least implicitly. For example, who are you? And we have talked about this earlier when I was talking about the positioning aspects. Who are you, which is related to brand identity, and at that particular moment we discussed this question with reference to who am I. So, who are you? Brand identity. What are you? Brand meaning, and there we talked about what am I. What about you? What do I think or feel about you? Brand responses. What about you and me? What kind of association and how much of a connection would I like to have with you? That is brand relationships. So, you see, brand identity, meaning, responses and relationships, and if a relationship is developed with intensity, it solves all the purpose. You recall any brand at this moment. Pyramid in front of you is brand resonance pyramid. It's sort of an objective for almost all the organizations in the world, wherein there are stages of brand development on the left side, and there are goals at each stage or related to each stage. And why it is called pyramid, and why these stages are conical in structure, that can be discussed. The most important element here is to look into the stages first of all. So, see, first is salience, which is related to identity on this side in terms of stage of brand development. So, salience is related to identity, and in terms of goal of this stage is deep broad brand awareness. So, that is where salience comes into being, and now you explicitly can realize in terms of, you see, salience is broadest part because awareness generation is for a very larger audience or for almost everyone, because the awareness related activities would go for larger people basically, because we would be utilizing media and medium wherein specifically not only our targets but others would also get associated with the brand. People would know about it, and I have been talking about IITs as well. So, then comes in meaning related to the stage of performance and imagery, and there on the other side goal is points of parity and difference, and we have talked about points of parity and difference. Then third is response, that is the stage of brand development associated with the portion of judgments and feelings, and goal is positive accessible reactions. And the final stage is relationship, as I said, related to the stage of resonance, and the goal is intense active loyalty, and this is all resonance model is all about. Now, I will be elaborating upon each of these aspects one by one. Brand salience is related to achieving the right brand identity, which means creating brand salience with customers. It measures various aspects of awareness of the brand and how easily and often the brand is evoked under various situations or circumstances. Then there are sub dimensions to brand salience: breadth and depth of the awareness. You see, it is a very natural process. We have seen this in many cases. For example, we were trying to understand product line and product width concept. There also this word depth came in. It is all related to the intensity, the reach of our efforts in terms of customer, where we are trying to put up the position or image in the mind of the customer, then definitely we must try to find out how successful we have been, and that is where breadth and depth of awareness comes in. And this definitely is judged through several methods and methodologies while we ask different kinds of questions to the customers, and I have talked about few of them in my last sessions also. Unaided recall, or let us say aided recall, that is one of those kind of methodologies. Product category structure again is sub dimension, and strategic implications are also the sub dimensions. Just keep those in mind, that these are the elements of brand salience as of now. Now, you see, here you would get a larger picture of as far as what those sub dimensions mean when we talk of examples like Tropicana. Consumers should at least recognize Tropicana brand when it is presented to them. Beyond that, consumers should think of Tropicana whenever they think of orange juice, particularly when they are considering buying orange juice. And here one of my favorite examples is Tang, so you can put up Tang also in terms of when we are discussing Tropicana. Ideally, consumers would think of Tropicana whenever they were deciding which type of beverage to drink, especially when seeking a tasty but healthy beverage. Thus, consumers must think of Tropicana as satisfying a certain set of need whenever that kind of a need arises. Tropicana increases its awareness through taglines like "Feel pure good every day" and Tropicana "Sip your sunshine," "Sip your sunshine." So, kind of suitable, and that is where we were trying to discuss in terms of mantra, and that is why it is important. Tropicana develops a perspective, or developed a perspective about itself, and they carry it as a mantra in terms of the tagline or the motto which they are putting up in front of their customers. And that actually generates positioning, that generates image, that generates points of parity and points of difference, and so on. So, salience is driving us towards brand performance. Brand performance describes how well the product or service meets customers' more functional needs. How well does the brand rate on objective assessments of quality? To what extent does the brand satisfies utilitarian, aesthetic and economic customer needs and wants in the product or service category? Now, again, brand performance must be judged or analyzed with reference to how customer responds to it. I will give you one important example while talking of brand performance. For example, there is a protein supplement which is which a mother thinks that her child should consume. Children, they are not, many a times, I am not saying always, but many a times they are not so fond of milk, and putting up a protein supplement in that milk which doesn't sounds like chocolate, or many a times as their favorite flavor is not acceptable at all. See, so that is where the aspect of how a mother convinces the child, but mother would be convincing the child well only and only if mother knows the positioning which the brand or that protein supplement wants to create in front of the child actually, and mother would be the carrier of this. So, you see again, but we have to look at it with the perspective of a child, the performance, how well the product service meets the customer's more functional needs. That is what kind of liking the child would have in her mind about as far as that protein supplement goes. 5 important types of attributes and benefits which are related to as far as this discussion goes are primary ingredients and supplementary features, product reliability, durability and serviceability, service effectiveness, efficiency and empathy, style and design and price. Now, you see again, while we were discussing about product or product management for that matter, I have talked about all these aspects in detail, and we reached to a stage wherein we tried to understand that how they actually comprehensively put up the satisfaction level of a customer, and we are reiterating this in terms of that product being a brand. Why? Because now that particular product is steered by its name rather than being a product, or let us say something which I should not say does not have a name, but something which has a known name actually, or let us say it is our effort to make it known so that rest subsides in front of that name. For example, if I say HP, rest subsides because HP, they have computer based solutions for you. For example, you may think in terms of ICICI automotive insurance. Rest, that what kind of insurance policies for what kind of vehicles they have and so on. For example, you have SBI term deposit, or you do not even say term deposit, you just say SBI, and you have almost everything in terms of what kind of services SBI might offer you, and that is what we are talking of. And if I say bank, what would you infer? That is the difference between a bank being SBI, and that is what we are referring to at this particular moment. Brand performance again can be elaborated with reference to an example. For example, Subway zoomed to the top as one of the biggest selling quick serve restaurant through a clever positioning of offering healthy, good tasting sandwiches. This positioning allowed the brand to create a point of parity on taste and a point of difference on health concerning quick serve restaurants, but at the same time a point of parity on health and a point of difference on taste with respect to health food restaurants and cafes. You see, within this space of sandwiches, wherein points of parity and points of difference are not so wide, basically you see it is within a certain frame basically. Taste is differentiable but not so much differentiable. So, creating a different kind of a positioning for itself is a tougher deal, and it can only be created by certain image generation, and that is what we are referring to at this moment. But here our concentration is brand performance. So, putting up ingredients, cooking style, and then projecting it in front of the customer that it is related to health as well as taste. One of the Subway's highly successful product launches was $5 foot-long sandwich, very famous around the world. The idea quickly took hold and was the perfect solution for consumers during recessionary phases also, and then it became a mainstay basically. Footlong is a famous product actually, and people do like it. And you see, once you have this in your hand, basically you feel that you have a whole meal in your hand, and price justifies it all. This strong performance and value message has allowed Subway to significantly expand its market coverage and potential customer base as well. Brand imagery. We are rising in the pyramid structure now. You see, imagery depends on the extrinsic properties, intangible aspects, starting from awareness to performance, justifying the performance, we are going towards image. So, it is related to intangible aspects of product or service, including how the brand attempts to meet customers' psychological or social needs. It is the way people think about a brand abstractly rather than what they think the brand actually does. Sleepwell mattresses, for example, Coir foam. And why I am choosing these examples is because many a times we do not realize what comfort can a mattress or a pillow provide. Now, many kinds of intangibles can be linked to a brand, but four main ones are user imagery, and I have just mentioned that, purchase and usage imagery, brand personality and values, brand history, heritage and user experience. Now, brand imagery can be thought of in terms of Enfield, for example. You see, in the two-wheeler segment in India, one of the strongest brand on the personality parameter is Royal Enfield Bullet. The Royal Enfield Bullet strength has always been its sensorial branding, the thump sound that one associates with the brand. To me, it is dug kind of sound, not thump basically, but slide. One has to write that way, So, a truly aspirational brand on the street, it has a strong personality and is positioned for a person who is seen to be wielding authority, riding on an Enfield and tug, moving ahead. And with all due regards to people who do not like Enfield. Over the years, Royal Enfield has remained relevant to successive generations of the bike lovers in India and abroad. At the same time, it has also remained true to the brand personality and its value, be it the rugged design, its Indianness, its characteristic dug, or its compelling street presence. For the Royal Enfield biker, it is a nirvana on two wheels. And recently I was going somewhere and I found a group of 30 Royal Enfield bikers going towards Himalayas, and you see, I admire them. I miss those days when I used to ride one. Brand judgments are customers' personal opinions about and evaluations of the brand, which consumers form by putting together all the different brand performances and imagery association. Brand performance and imagery associations. Customers may make all types of judgments concerning a brand, but four types are particularly important: quality, credibility, consideration, superiority. And all these are relative in nature, comparative in nature. Just remember the differential effect a brand may generate. Again, to elaborate upon judgment, FedEx has stressed its speed, skill and dependability in shipping and delivery. Its brand campaign, Solutions That Matter, launched in 2011, offers perfect platform to enable FedEx to tell stories about various ways in which the company solves problems for customers, ranging from delivering cargo to printing documents or shipping unusual or special items. The company wants customers to think of it as a trusted partner with a commitment to reliable but cost-effective shipping all over the world. For further details, please visit their website. Brand feelings are customers' emotional responses and reactions to the brand. Brand feelings also relate to the social currency evoked by the brand. Feelings can be experiential and immediate, increasing in level of intensity, warmth, fun, excitement. We talked about Disney. Private and enduring, increasing in level of gravity, security, social approval and self-respect. And Hyatt Hotels is one of the important examples in terms of brand feelings. They have built an emotional connection with its customers through branding itself in a unique way across portfolio of different offerings, and there are several other examples associated with this. Service, you can understand feelings better. Then comes in the last part of our discussion in terms of the pyramid, that is brand resonance itself. See, brand resonance describes the nature of this relationship and the extent to which customers feel that they are in sync with the brand. Resonance is characterized in terms of intensity. Intensity is one of the most important words which you should remember when we are talking of brand and brand management. Intensity or the depth of psychological bond that customers have with the brand, as well as the level of activity engendered by this loyalty. Resonance can be subdivided as behavioral loyalty, attitudinal attachment, sense of community, active engagement, and so on. And here the story goes towards wherein customer becomes the ambassador. He is a contributor in brand development and brand building, and he actually engages herself in developing that brand further. It is like a girl playing with Lego toys for a long time purchases Lego toys for her daughter. A girl using Faber-Castell for a long time purchases Faber-Castell for Castle colors for her daughter, and definitely my favorite example, Barbie. So you see, that is the perspective of when we talk of brand resonance. And I would end this discussion on Barbie because it is one of my favorite examples. It has practically gone generational now, and I have seen several mothers purchasing Barbie very fondly for their daughters, and definitely with the perspective of the personality which their daughters want to have or they want to cherish. So here comes the resonance. Keep this word in mind called resonance, and I'll build up the concept of brand value chain with you, for you, in my next session. Till then, just watch the videos, enjoy. I'll be coming back to you. Goodbye.